Said before that a law making mandatory DNA testing at birth is a terrible idea, but men decided they wanted to argue with me, so I'm going to readdress the issue. Mandatory paternity testing at birth is a terrible idea. If you choose to get a paternity test at birth, that's on you. I truly do not care.
Yo, what is going on, guys? It is Taylor the Fiend back again, and today we are taking a look at a new law that is just making modern women panic, it seems. Don't forget to leave your thoughts and your comments as always, and let's jump right into the video.
I am not for mandatory paternity testing, but I am against men being forced to father children that aren't theirs. And the following story is wild. Gypsy Rose Blanchard married her husband Ryan while incarcerated. In December, Gypsy was released. In March, they split, and in April, she filed for divorce. In May, she confirmed that she was back together with her ex-fiance, Ken. Then last week, Gypsy announced that she was 11 weeks pregnant with Ken's child. This would put the date of conception around April, the same month that
She thought that the biological father would take her in, so she created a backup plan.
Filed for divorce. And this is where it gets interesting. According to People magazine, as stated in Louisiana law, if the mother is married to someone other than the biological father when the child was conceived or has been divorced for less than 300 days at the time of birth, the husband/ex-husband shall be the presumed father, unless paternity is established for the biological father. With this law in place, the only way that Ken's name will go on the birth certificate is if Ryan signs an affidavit that Ken is the father. If he doesn't, and Ken wants his name on the birth certificate, he will have to file a motion with the courts, and the courts will make all three of them take a DNA test to determine the father. This is called marital presumption of paternity, and it's not just in Louisiana.
This law is complicated nonsense. DNA testing should just be mandatory at birth, I think, honestly.
Don't swipe now. Come back here. Hey, ladies, did you know that paternity fraud is now a crime? Yeah, let's talk about House Bill 2689, because they locking y'all up.
I'm going to make my money one way or another. Even if that means locking you up, I'll make my money off of you being locked up. Please peep the game.
Oh, yeah. And this hookup culture? Oh, yeah, that's a wrap. Because they're making it so you can no longer get child support off of one-night stands. If that man wasn't in your life, let me tell you.
Paternity fraud should be a crime, absolutely. It is stealing from a man to pay for the mother's infidelity. It should be a serious crime, too, I think.
Not only are they making it mandatory for the man to get a DNA test before he signs a birth certificate, but now they're like, look, you're not going to be able to get any money off of this man if he was not actively, long-term, a part of your everyday life.
Oh, yeah, it's true, too. And if I could add on to this bill, you know what? If all these fathers are paying these high amounts in child support, why not give the child to the father? Yeah, that's coming too. I mean, what you think?
I'm going to be honest enough to admit that a man would probably be more capable of raising the child on his own.
If he's paying child support to a kid that is not his, that woman should be required to pay it back.
So me and our daughter, our 5-year-old daughter, went and got tested today.
Okay.
And it said that I am...
Wait, why you take my baby to go get tested anyway? What do you mean, what kind of test, first of all? She should be taking
I went and got a DNA discovery thing so you find out where you come from, and kind of find out the child doesn't come from me. Yeah. 5 years, I can't even go crazy right now because the kid's asleep.
He just found out the last 5 years were a complete lie. That's a bigger issue than why he got the test done.
So I'm trying to stay calm.
You raised her for
We have 3 children,
anyway.
and the last one is not mine. How's this possible? Well, we know how it's possible, but guess what? Because the kid is asleep, I'm not going to turn violent. I'm not going to call you a bunch of names or cause a big scene. But you and that 5-year-old, who I do love, is going to have to leave the place.
No, because I pay bills here too, and her brothers and sisters is here. You ain't never about to separate my...
Listen to how she says they are my kids. You can tell that she doesn't love her husband whatsoever.
Kid.
You are on none of the bills with your name. Technically,
yeah, okay, whatever.
You don't have your ID that says you live here. 1, 2, you see what that says?
Why would you do this?
What you mean, why would I do that? Are you serious right now? Now I don't give a shit. What do you mean, why would I do that?
That's still your child.
No, that's your child.
You raised her for
No,
5 years.
that's your child. And yes, I do love her. I'm not denying that.
I mean, you're not.
But I can't continue to raise a child that's not mine. I'm not doing that. What kind of father would I be to my other 2 children to show them the kind of weak man raises a kid that's not his?
What kind of man raises a child for 5 years and then try to kick her and her mother out?
No.
They love to say that because he's the caretaker, he's the father, but that is not actually how it works at all.
My husband got a paternity test on our 5-year-old daughter and it came back negative, but I never cheated. And now he wants a divorce. And after a lot of silence and anxiety, I finally had a conversation with him. We discussed a lot of things, but I told him I would literally never cheat on him. I told him a list of tests that I really wanted to take to prove it to him that it was a faulty test. He told me he didn't want to hear it right now, so we're going to talk a little bit more about it tomorrow. Although this is really hard on him, he did say that he still loves our daughter and that he won't try to kick me out of the house or our room.
It is insane to claim that the DNA test doesn't match, and yet she somehow never cheated. Like, think about that for a second.
Again, I have no idea what to do. I feel like I'm being punished for something that I literally didn't do because I did not do it and I would never cheat on him. At the end of our long conversation, I did ask him to hug me just to feel a little bit of reassurance, and he did, thankfully, and that made me feel a lot better. But I'm still just so scared that I'm not going to be able to convince him that it was a faulty test. I don't know how I can be a good wife and support his needs while also proving my innocence.
The odds of a DNA test being faulty is extremely low. Odds are this is not the case at all.
You're in Tennessee, guess what? House Bill 2689 is getting ready to pass. That is requiring paternity tests before you sign the birth certificate. Because, you know, when people do paternity tests 1/3 of the time, they end up not being the father, and if they start testing everybody, that number...
What? Well, I guess that's probably selection bias, to be fair.
Only go up, not down. They're actually starting to jail time the ladies for maternity fraud.
As they should. Women who try to pawn off a kid on a man like that deserve prison time. That is ridiculous.
This needs to go nationwide, but at least it's the first step.
True.
Progress, not perfection.
Sure.
But in the meantime, because you...
It's weird to me that they don't just do this as a default.
Be surprised just how many of those kids belong to another man.
The problem with child support is that it's calculated based on how much money both of the parents make.
Yeah.
The more money dad makes, the more he pays. But the more money that mom makes, the less she gets. This absolutely incentivizes people not to be successful, which is not making the world a better place. It's making the world a...
Child support laws were written to completely destroy fathers. It is just not right.
The worst places.
That is stupid, by the way. Yeah. I'm okay with a man having to pay. Like, I'm a child support supporter. Whenever you have a kid, like, you shouldn't look at what's best for the kid, or sorry, what's best for the mom or what's best for the dad. You should look at what's best for the kid. And I think that a society that doesn't put the best interests of its children and young people first is a society that's doomed to die. Everybody knows, like, custody court is, like, rigged in favor of women.
There should be laws that require proof that child support money is actually going to the children. I honestly don't think it is most of the time.
That is absolutely incorrect, okay? Child support is for the parent, not for the child. I use my child support money to go to the spa, let's say. Why? Because if I'm not stress-free, if I'm not relaxed, there's no way that I can take care of my children properly. I've always said that child support is a reimbursement for the parent. Therefore, the parent could use it as they choose. I bought my brand new car with my child support money.
Child support isn't supposed to be for the parents. You would think that if it was, it would be called something like, I don't know, parent support and not children support, or child support rather.
I also use my child support to fund my vacations without my children. Why? Because I deserve it. My kids have everything and anything that they want, and more. So what about me? That's exactly when child support comes into play. So just because I use the money on myself doesn't mean I'm selfish at all. To be the best version of myself, I gotta make sure that I'm taken care of. And if that means spending every single nickel, dime from that child support, then so be it. And it's nobody's business.
Using child support money to fund your vacations is essentially stealing from that child. What on earth are we doing?
Some bad news.
What?
So I decided to get a DNA test on Mika, and the DNA test came back, and I just found out I'm not Mika's dad.
Come on, I know you lying.
I'm so serious. How could you do something like this to me?
Do what?
I've been in this baby life since she was born. I signed her birth certificate.
No, baby. You can't be speaking this right now.
And you laughing and you think it's funny?
What?
You had me thinking that she was my baby for 7 years?
God, get you out of it.
I mean, I feel like you're making jokes about this whole situation when this is serious. I'm so...
She hurt him in one of the worst ways imaginable, and she wants to just joke about it.
hurt right now. We spent so much time together. You so wrong for misleading me like that for all these years.
He broke 2 major rules of the Bad Boy membership. 1, not taking a paternity test and understanding that a paternity test is mandatory for all children in all situations. 2, signing a birth certificate without taking a paternity test.
Considering how cheating is promoted in society, it's best to just get the test at birth, I think.
You've been her daddy for 6 years. The only daddy that she knows.
The last 6 years, hold on, sis. The last 6 years, you had me thinking that this baby was mine.
I told you I was sorry. I apologized about that. Mistakes happen. But this don't have nothing to do with her life.
Hey,
I'm not her cousin party.
I'm sorry, baby. Y'all need to leave.
No.
Y'all need to leave. Y'all need to leave.
You're not gonna talk to my sister like that.
Talk to your sister.
You're not gonna talk to my sister like that, bro.
Leave, bro.
Like I said, bro.
Saying that you're sorry doesn't change the fact that she betrayed this man in several ways.
I'm not gonna talk to my sister like that, but you
That's between y'all two. But don't put
y'all need to leave. Y'all need to leave.
Like I said,
bro, y'all need to leave.
We are not going nowhere. Me and Dom already talked about this.
That man has every right to be angry, but it is still a shame for the children to see it.
A mistake, and this is probably going to destroy my marriage, but how do I tell him that our 3 kids are not biologically his? For context, my husband is an amazing man. He bought me this beautiful house, these wonderful rings, nice cars. He treats me and our kids amazingly. He's never cheated on me. He's just always been a good man. But the guilt is eating me alive.
She's afraid to tell her husband about this, and yet she has no problem telling the world.
Honestly, on days like this, it really gets the best of me, and I don't know how to resolve this problem. I mean, I'm scared he's gonna divorce me, and then what? Then I lose everything. Like, how am I gonna lose all the stability that I have? So I'm just really looking to see if anybody else has been in the situation and can give me some advice. I already know some of you are gonna judge me and assume the worst of me, but I'm really a good person. I'm not gonna let this mistake ×3 define me, because in my heart, I love my husband. How do I tell my husband that the 3 kids that I have...
There's no good way to tell someone bad news.
You can't claim to be a good person when you are lying about the paternity of your own kids.
I said before that a law making mandatory DNA testing at birth is a terrible idea, but men decided they wanted to argue with me, so I'm going to readdress the issue. Mandatory paternity testing at birth is a terrible idea. If you choose to get a paternity test at birth, that's on you. I truly do not care. Mandatory is the key word here. Mandatory DNA testing would mean that every child born into the United States, plus both of their parents, would need to be tested at birth. We not seeing why that's a bad idea?
A father has the right to know if a child is biologically his. That is, in fact, a good idea.
1, that's going to lead to the government storing our genetic data. They're not going to take every single American's genetic info and just throw it away. 2, imagine a man cheats on his wife, God forbid, with a teenager. What do you think he's going to do to her when he realizes she's pregnant and he has to do a DNA test? But we don't care about endangering women or children's lives, right? I know. And 3, who's gonna pay for it? Because the government sure isn't, and I'm not paying to get a DNA test because you too scared to ask your baby mama for a paternity test. The real solution here that a lot of people don't want to hear is to stop having sex with people you don't want to create a family.
Yes, people shouldn't be sleeping around like that, but we are too far past that point.
I just got the paperwork. This baby is not mine. That's exactly what I just said. This baby is not mine, Miss Cheryl. Have you talked to her? Have you seen her? Have you... I'm sorry, I ain't trying to raise my voice. I apologize. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I just want to understand as to why I had this responsibility on me and she know this baby not mine.
That man shouldn't have to apologize for raising his voice. He just got absolutely devastating news.
This is your daughter. That's the only person I can call to get in contact with. This is your child. I understand that, Miss Sharon. I know this don't got nothing to do with you, but at the end of the day, this baby has nothing to do with it either. This is not my child. I'm watching over, I'm taking care of this baby, and it's not my child. I don't care about the money. The money that I spent, I don't even want that back in reimbursement. I don't care about it. I just want my child. This is your daughter. This is your daughter. This is supposedly the parent of this child.
It's not entirely about the money. It's also about the wasted time, the dedication, the broken trust. I mean, this is just a painful experience all around, I'm sure.
How can a man walk away from a child that he has been raising for 3, 5, 10, 15 years simply because the DNA test shows that he's not the biological father? Hear me out here. I'm not being insensitive. I know that his world has just been turned upside down. I know he feels betrayed. He's devastated. I empathize. I sympathize with his predicament. However,
she's not empathizing. She literally shamed men for not taking care of kids that are not his. What are we doing? Like, what even is that?
how is one able to walk away from a child that one has bonded with, loved, nurtured, poured blood and sweat into, simply because the DNA test shows that you're not the biological father? I understand getting rid of the wife or the girlfriend. The word I actually want to use starts with a W and rhymes with sure. Get rid of the W. But the children or the child, the innocent child, it is flummoxing to me.
The fathers walk away because that child is a symbol of betrayal from a woman he loved.
Now, I'm not a man, and I do not know how this impacts men. I also know that there's deep shame. But were I in that predicament, of course I would be devastated. I'd be hurt and betrayed. But then I'd let the children know, or the child know. You may not be my biological child, but you're still my child. I love you. You're my child in my heart. I've bonded with you. I've raised you. So
she has no idea how men think, so she lectures us on how we are supposed to think. Absolutely classic.
Nothing changes. Now, I know a lot of men worry about, oh, then I have to continue paying I have to pay child support now that we're not together. So what? I'd pay the child support. Because you know what? Even though everything has changed, nothing should have changed, because it's still the child that I raised, bonded with, and loved. And in an attempt not to pay child support, one ends up cutting off one's nose to spite one's face. Because you got to look at the big picture.
She's completely wrong. That man's life has completely changed, and that is the fault directly of the mother.
The relationship with that child, the continued relationship, and the ability to go ahead and raise and nurture that child because you already have that bonded relationship. But once again, because I'm not a man, I do not understand how anybody can walk away from a child. Story time. My husband had a boss about 20 years ago. This gentleman's son had some medical issues. And to make a long story short, he found out that his 19-year-old son was not his biological child.
I don't think she wants to understand the perspective of men. She kind of just wants to be right.
Needless to say, he was devastated. But you know what? He had raised this child for 19 years, was paying for college. This was his son, and he was not going to let him go. And my heart broke for him, but I was so proud of this man because he did not walk away from his child. And I think at times some men might think walking away from the child is a way to punish the woman for her.
That kid was a fully grown adult when his father found out. That is not the same thing.
Betrayal. But at the end of the day, the person you're hurting is the child. And I can't help but wonder, won't you be traumatized as a person walking away from someone that you've bonded with, that you've loved? For the man, isn't that traumatic? I mean, I really do not understand. I just cannot relate. And once again, I'm not a man. I'm sensitive to the hurt, to the pain, to the betrayal. But is it right to walk away from a child you've bonded with simply because the DNA test shows that you're not the biological father? Food for thought. Talk to you later.
She has no idea what she's talking about because she has no idea what a man goes through when he goes through something so earth-shattering. If you would like to get early access to videos, weekly lectures, and case study breakdowns of human behavior, make sure you check out the members area link below in the video description. Otherwise, make sure to click on one of these videos on screen now if you enjoyed. Make sure you take care of yourself, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.